Let's talk a little Florida Gator recruiting. Got Blake Alderman here. Blake, welcome to On 3. Worked with you for a while at 24/7 Sports. Knew you even well before that. So great to have you here at On 3. How's it feeling?
Feels good. It feels kind of like, a lot of the people that were at 247, they're here now. So it kind of feels like I just moved maybe next door and, different house on the same
Yeah.
street.
Yep. The gang is all back together. And today we're talking Florida official visit weekend. Now, they already had one. It was a big one, but not as big as the one that's coming up. A couple 5-stars on campus, 18 total visitors. So if you want to see the whole list, go to Gators Online. But Blake, tell me about Bralan Womack coming in, the 5-star number 1 safety in America. A lot of people think Ohio State could be the destination, but he's in Gainesville this weekend. What are you hearing?
A lot of Ohio State. He was, I think it was early this spring, he took the unofficial visit, named them his leader. They've been involved with him for a long time. But Florida has been involved with him for a while, but it's sort of a short-lived deal to where this is something that has come together since probably January. Vinny Sunseri, Florida's first-year co-defensive coordinator, safeties coach, has that long-standing relationship with Bralan Womack from when he was at Washington. I think earlier this year, Womack was going to name like a top 5, top 6, and was actually going to have Washington in there. Vinny leaves. I think he was at Jacksonville State for that short stint in between Washington and Florida. Washington did not make the list, but then he turns around and he's at Florida. Womack visits. Now Florida's a top school for him. They'll get the first crack for an official visit. I do think that Florida has made a big jump up as far as their trajectory in this recruitment. But Ohio State has been in this for a while. His sister actually plays softball at Auburn. Texas A&M has hosted him a bunch. So I kind of like the field over Florida right now, and I certainly like where Ohio State's at. But I do think that Florida made a big jump with only one visit, so I'm interested to see where things are coming out of this official visit.
Yeah, and he's not the only top 10 player in the state of Mississippi that's going to be in Gainesville. So will Jaren McCoy, who is from Mississippi. Now, he's a big old defensive lineman, and this is shaping up to kind of be a Texas-Florida battle for Jaren McCoy.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a couple of those types of Texas-Florida battles, at least right now. It feels like you think you have an idea of where recruitment's at heading into one weekend, then another official visit, and then it's like, oh, well, now it's something else. But he's even said, I spoke with him about a week or two ago, said that Florida and Texas both have a slight edge. They stand out a little bit more. I think the Final Four we're looking at right now is those two, Ohio State and LSU. I think he was committed to LSU for like a month, somewhere around there. So that was a short-lived deal. Florida has done a really good job. I think that he likes the opportunity to play early at both Texas and Florida. But with Florida, it's a little bit of a different type of pitch because he's someone that can play more of an interior 3 technique type of defensive lineman, but he's also got the length and the frame to where he could play the F position in their defense, which is it's in the edge room, but it's kind of like a souped up defensive end that has a little bit of wiggle. So he's got the ability to move around the front. So I think that just the opportunity to play early is something that stands out to him. From visiting Florida and Texas in the spring, Florida had him and his dad on campus. Texas, Jaren was by himself on that visit. So I do think Florida, if it's a Texas-Florida battle right now, and like I said, as he takes visits, that can change, but I do feel it is that way right now. I'd give Florida the edge heading into this weekend. There's at least some buzz out there that, is this a guy to watch to maybe pop this weekend? I think it's something we're tracking, but he does have a commitment date set for July 1st. So usually when a guy sets a commitment date and they've got these visits coming up, they tend to wait for those dates, but maybe he gets caught up on the visit. Maybe it goes well. They show him what he needs to see. So I do love Florida's position with Jaren McCoy heading into this weekend.
Yeah, almost 24 recruits on campus this weekend on officials. Like I said, Gators Online has the full list. But, Blake, who's a name or two that you think Florida Gator fans really need to be tracking this weekend?
I think that this weekend I've kind of painted this one as I feel like when we look back, whether it's after the OVs or down the road, when you see how weekends shaped up for Florida, this one to me shapes up like one that I think it could be a really good haul for Florida, whether it's someone that pops on the visit shortly after, or if we look back down the road to see how this weekend went. So I do like a lot of them. I think CJ Brona is one that really jumps out to me. He's committed to Nebraska, still looking at Florida State and Florida. There's some confidence with Florida on their end. I think Florida's done a really good job. Florida's cornerbacks coach, Deron Wilson, has done an excellent job with him. CJ Hester, 4-star defensive back from Cocoa. Florida is the number one school. They are number one, and Syracuse is the number 2 school for him. So love Florida's position there. That's another guy that's going to commit in early part of July. Jaden Broadnow is one guy too. He's a 4-star defensive back from down in Boca Raton. He is committed to Louisville. He's been committed there since like February or March. Florida has continued to recruit him. He's really liking what they have to say. And I actually spoke with him heading into the visit, and he was like, man, I grew up a huge Florida fan. When I was a little kid, I had a Florida room, bed sheets. I had, all the posters on the wall, and used to wake up on Saturday mornings as a kid, putting a Florida helmet on and sitting there watching the game, dreaming about them. You hear those types of things, sure, yes, he's going to have visits to take. He's going to visit Florida this weekend. Louisville is where he's committed, and he'll visit them. But you hear those types of things, and that's one that, you immediately move over to that list of like, yeah, let's see where things go here. Janarve Carr, 3-star interior offensive lineman from IMG Academy. He's from Ocala. Florida's been in the mix for him for a long time. I think if there's like a sleeper type of player that at least I'm watching, and I think Florida, from what I'm hearing, they would greenlight him. He's a guy that could commit right now. It's Javari Lucas. He's a 3-star offensive lineman from down in Belglade, plays for Glade Central. Kelvin Taylor and Fred Taylor are related to him. Kelvin is his cousin, so he's got those Florida ties. Florida saw him in the spring, liked what they saw from there. Florida was the number one school for him after a visit in April. That hasn't changed. So that's someone that I'm watching this weekend as well.
Yeah. And, Florida Gators sitting there only with 2 commitments. But when the season ended on a high note on the football field, but also in recruiting. The Gators had a ton of momentum. They finished the class really strong. Do you feel like there's any reason for concern, or is the summer when things are really going to get going for UF?
I mean, I'd be lying if there wasn't some concern on my end. It's just kind of out of the ordinary to be sitting here. We're pushing June and Florida's got 2 commitments. That's just not something that I've seen from the years I've covered Florida. But I also, when I look at a class, when you see like where things are at, I always look at it after that big wave of summertime commitments, the June, July's, early August, guys that get this out of the way before the season. So that's when I really want to see where the class is at, what that like solid base is. But then even now, as a verbal commitment really is what it used to not mean much then because guys would take visits, but now NIL, guys still take visits, committed or not. So Florida went on that crazy run. I think me seeing what they did last year from November, early October, all the way into signing day, that run they had, I've never seen something like that. So that at least shows me that this Florida staff can play the long game for some of these recruits. So I think it's encouraging to where if maybe it's not where it should be heading into the season, that they still have, there's proof of concept to see that they've been able to make moves like that.
Yeah, and you can still feel that momentum. I mean, that was real. What happened toward the end of that season, the commitments that they landed going into the early signing day, and I think the Gators are going to heat up this summer. So UF fans, talk to Blake and I. How are you guys feeling, and where do you think this Gator class is going to end up? Let us know.